Howdy y'all, thank you for joining us today for this playthrough of Marvel Champions the card game hero pack Storm. What this is I take the hero pack straight out of this box, sleeve it up, unchanged, and I've already shuffled this quite a bit. I'm going to do a few more shuffles here in a second. And I basically like to take it and play it up against starting villains. Rhino's normally it. This time I'm doing Sabretooth for flavor since he was the first one in the mutant box that came out for the campaign. And I've got that all mixed in here and whatnot. So to try to speed this up, what I'm basically going to do is we're going to see if she can hold up with her deck and let people see how the deck plays. By the way, it comes straight out of the box, and then we'll see how it goes. So, if this is your first time to join me, I will be teaching through the first round, and then after that, at least enough to where you can follow the game and see if it's something that you're interested in if you're not already playing, because I do like the game, so I want to allow other people to enjoy the game also. And if you've already seen these, then you're going to unfortunately be bored, but at least let you see the new cards and see how they interact, unless we just lose real fast, but we'll see how that goes. Alright, so like I said, it's going to be us as Storm versus Sabretooth. So let's go ahead and do the setup for Sabretooth, which I just realized I got these all reversed around because I just done the Wolverine playthrough. Alright, here we go. So we have to set up the main scheme, which is contents Sabretooth 1 and 2. So we have the 1 and 2 there. And we're not doing expert mode, so we're not going to do Sabretooth 2 and 3. And then it says Sabretooth in the standard sets, which I do have in here, is the Sabretooth in the standard sets. There's a standard card right off the bat. And then it says 2 modular sets. It suggests Brotherhood and Mystique. So I normally, for flavor, do the Brotherhood with these. But I took the Mystique one out because in the Storm hero pack, there was the, oh, he's right there, the Shadow King modular set. So I took Mystique out and replaced it with the Shadow King. So it's going to be Sabretooth and the Brotherhood versus, and Shadow King versus Storm. Well, actually, it's not going to really so much be versus Storm. It's going to be Sabretooth and company basically deciding to take out Robert Kelly. And we're going to get more into that here in a second. Just going to give us a few more shuffles to go ahead and throw it in there. I also already put my obligation in here from Storm, which is claustrophobia. Alright. That should be more than enough shuffles. Like I said, I shuffled these quite a bit anyways. Alright, so that's the setup, or the contents. Now it says the setup. Put the Find the Sender side scheme into play. We'll go through all that here in a second. Attach the Robert Kelly ally to it. Done it. While attached to Find the Sender, Robert Kelly is in play, but under no player's control. So that means he's in play, so that means he can be targeted by stuff, but he is under nobody's control. Alright, we did all that. And then we go to this other side here. It says this starts with 0 threat on it. It will be accelerating at +1 threat per scheme, if you don't understand, or per player. So if you don't understand all that, we'll go through that during a turn. And then it has a star here, which means you come up here and look at this, and it says as a forced response, after resolving step 1 of the villain phase, which is when you're going to accelerate this, deal 2 damage to Robert Kelly. 3 damage instead if there's at least 6 threat on this card. While Robert Kelly is attached to Find the Senator, treat his text box if it were blank. So as long as he's attached like we have it here, it's like there's nothing written in this block, in this box. If Robert Kelly leaves play, the players lose the game. So basically, if he's able to do all that damage enough to where Robert Kelly gets knocked out, he leaves play, we lose the game. Alright, so that's everything setting up with that, except for now we have to put this into play, which is Find the Senator. Robert Kelly cannot be healed by player or card effects. It cannot have upgrades attached, so we can't heal him or put things on him to make him tougher. When we defeat this, so what it's talking about is right now he gets 5 threat on there per number of players. So 5 threat because we're doing this solo. And then the first player detaches when this gets defeated. What it's saying is basically, if I remove all this threat off of here, that means I defeated this side scheme, which says the first player... Well, that's what we got to do. So we're going to have to try to get this threat off of here so that we can do the when defeated stuff. Because also, basically, the only thing I'm going to talk about on there, because we're going to have to go through this all anyways, is it's going to advance past this scheme to go to the next part, the next scheme that's underneath that. So right now, he's trying to find the senator. Or we're gonna knock him out. He's trying to knock out the senator. He is stalking the senator. We need to find the senator and start protecting him and get him to safety and whatnot. Only thing to note is there's this icon here. This is called the crisis icon, because normally there's ways we can remove this threat from these schemes. What this is saying is we cannot remove any threat from this scheme here as long as this is in play. That's set up with that. Next we go to ours, and what we got to do first is, first off, we have to go to our 10 hit points. Alright, we have our 10 hit points. But alright, we're at 10 hit points, and it lets us know our starting hand size is 6. So, we shuffle up our deck here, which I've already shuffled up quite a bit, so we're just going to give it a few more shuffles here. And then we're going to draw our 6 cards. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that we have drawn, we get what's called a mulligan. The mulligan is, we have our hand size of 6. We can discard any number of cards we want to, and then once we've discarded, we can draw up to our hand size again. So what that means is, if I wanted to discard these 2 cards, after I discard them, I would draw 2 more cards out of the deck to get to my hand size of 6. I'm going to choose not to do a mulligan and keep these cards in hand. So the next thing is we check to see if we have any setup, which on Storm it does say she begins the game with a weather deck. And I don't understand this in the rules. It does say to shuffle these up and then put them face down. But I don't understand, because everything I've seen says you get to choose which one to put into play. So we'll do it just in case there's some reason. But yeah, like everything I read, because even now, all right, I mix these up like it says. And it says put it over to the side. I'm just going to put it right there. But it says put it to the side. But then you look at the setup here. I feel a storm coming. And it says setup. Choose a support from the weather deck and put it into play. So that means I don't care that it's random or anything. I get to go over here. I mean, everything I read in there does not say anything about when you get to choose. The only thing it says is choose one of the supports in the weather deck and put it into play. And it even says choose wisely, because a lot of these cards affect all characters in play, including the bad guys, which means if I choose the one that does plus damage or plus attack, means the bad guys are going to get plus attack also. So, I don't know. We'll do it just in case. Maybe there's something in the deck that says random, but I don't think so. I read through them. At least we're doing the unboxing. So, either way, it says setup, choose a support from the weather deck, and put it into play. I'm going to choose to put Thunderstorm into play. So it is a support. A support means it's a card that just kind of comes over here and it's going to be affecting the overall game. In this case, it's a permanent. Now, permanent means it cannot leave play. But we already saw through the unboxing and on the other side of her card here that she has ways where she's going to be swapping the cards in and out of the deck. So it's a permanent, comes into play, cannot leave play. Each character gets +1 attack. So that means all characters, my identity, Sabretooth, any minions, any allies I have, all get +1 attack. And then the special says deal 2 damage to an enemy, but this didn't say anything about doing the special. So that means all it does is just put this into play, and now all characters have +1 attack. Including Robert Kelly, but Robert Kelly's attack is, there is no attack, so +1 to nothing, and like not even a 0. So that was just a little side thing. All right, so we've done that. We put that into play. We'll do the same thing it said. All right, next, this is the first player marker. Normally, in a hero's turn, they're going to get, like, whoever's first player gets to do all their turn first. Then it moves to the person to the left, and so forth, till all the heroes' players have gone. We're in solo, so we're not really going to mess with it, but I'll have it up here anyways. There we go. First player marker. And with that, we're ready to begin. And the first part is basically the hero phase. And the hero phase is, we're going to take, like I said, the first player, and they're going to do their turn, which is basically taking a bunch of actions and doing things. All right, well, let's get started with that. One of the first things I'm going to do, and what you can do, is you can play cards from your hand. And to play the card, you have to pay a number of resources equal to the number on top of the card. In order to pay those resources, if you look at the bottom of the cards, they have a number of resources on there, usually ones, and you just discard the card to get the resource. In some cases, there are resource cards like this, which says it's a resource card. Notice it's not one you can play, but they'll do something different when you're spending them as resources. In this case, this one just has 2 resources on it instead of the normal 1, which is on all the other cards. So what all that means is, I want to play the X-Jet here and put it into play. It costs 3 for me to do that. So that means I have to discard or get 3 resources in some way. Well, I'm going to spend that resource card. There's 2 of it. And then I'm going to discard this card for 1 resource to now pay the 3 resources to put this into play. And what this is, it's a support, just like this. But notice when it comes into play, it also says resource, just like the other card did. What that is saying is, at that time when I am spending resources to put cards into play, or spending resources in general, I can use this card. Well, what does it do? It says, as a resource, I can exhaust the X-Jet, generate a wild, is what that symbol is, a wild resource for a player whose identity has the X-Men trait. So, I just put that into play, and I can spin it as a resource as long as my identity has the X-Men trait. Well, my identity does not have the X-Men trait, so I cannot use that at the moment. And that's putting a card into play. Another thing you could do on your turn is, once per turn, or phase, you can, on your turn, switch your identity's form. What that means is, right now I am in alter ego form. So I can switch to my hero form, or vice versa once I can switch from my hero to an alter ego form. So we're going to use that action to switch to my hero form. And you'll notice when you switch forms, it changes, one, some of the abilities you have, which we'll get to what those do in here in a second, and it also changes your ability in the boxes. So we're going to do that and change to my hero form. I want to bring this card into play. It costs 1. Well, remember, I'm spending as a resource now, so that would mean I have to discard one of these cards. But remember, this said as a resource, the X-Jet, I can exhaust the X-Jet and generate a wild resource for a player whose identity has the X-Men trait. I have the X-Men trait. So I can exhaust this to get that 1 resource to pay for this. So I'm going to do that. And that lets me put this upgrade into play. So an upgrade is something that you attach to an identity or a character. In this case, I'm going to attach it to Storm because it says put under any player's control, max 1 per player, and I get plus 3 hit points. So I'm going to attach it to Storm here, and she's going to get plus 3 max hit points. And since she gained those hit points, she gains them immediately. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. One of the things, this ain't going to make an effect in here, but notice that this said exhausts the X-Jet to generate a wild resource for a player whose identity has the X-Men trait. So if there were other players in the game, I could have, as they need to play, I could have, if they have the X-Men trait, exhaust this to pay for one of their resources on something. So this is a really good card for your multiplayer also. But I mean, it's a good card in general because that's one less card I have to discard for a card I'm going to play. Next, one of the things that you can do also is called a basic ability. And you're talking about these right here. So the basic abilities that are there are thwart, attack, and defend. What that means is I can, if I want to, as a basic action, I can exhaust Storm to thwart a scheme for 1, because it shows a 1 there. What that means is, if I exhaust her to thwart a scheme for 1, I would come over here, I would look at the schemes that are in play, and I could target it and exhaust, and remove 1 threat, because I'm thwarting that scheme. I remove 1 threat from that scheme. Now remember, if there was any threat on here, I couldn't do that because of this crisis icon. But I could, if I wanted to, thwart this one and remove 1 of the threat from it, putting it down to 4 to get it out of play. Or I can exhaust her to attack a minion or villain for 2 damage. Or if I have an attack coming in on me, I can exhaust her and after the attack, reduce the damage I would take by whatever numbers in the defense. I'm going to show this other side also because we're talking about basic abilities anyways. But in the alter ego, there's recover. You can see it over there. And what it does is I could, if I was in alter ego form, exhaust her to recover that number of hit points up to my max, which remember was 10, but now it's plus 3 because of the endurance. But I'm not in alter ego form and I'm already at max, so we don't need to do that. But we are going to exhaust Storm to attack. And remember, because Thunderstorm's in play, all characters have +1 attack. So I'm attacking for 2 + 1, 3 attack, and I choose to attack the only person that's in play, Sabretooth. So I'm going to attack Sabretooth for 3, which is going to reduce him down to 10. Other things you can do on your turn is some cards out here have actions. Like for instance, Storm here has an action there that says, sorry, I'm bringing it down a little bit so I can just read it as I'm showing it. As an action, swap your weather support in play with a support of your choice from the weather deck. Resolve the special ability on your weather support in play. Limit once per round. So what that means is, as an action, I can swap my weather support in play, so this thing, with another one of my choice from the deck, and then I get to do the special on it. I'm going to choose to change the weather with that action from thunderstorms to hurricane. So this is going to swap. Like I said, remember, permanents cannot leave play, but she's not making it leave play, she's swapping it. So now this is in play. It says each character gains retaliate 1. What retaliate means is anytime a character is attacked, if they have retaliate, they're going to do whatever numbers there, which in this case 1, damage. So if I would have had this in play when I attacked Sabretooth, Sabretooth would have retaliated for 1 damage to me. But I'm going to put this into play because now all characters gain retaliate 1. And then it said I get to do the special, which the special is remove 2 threat from a scheme. Well, I'm going to go up to this scheme find the senator, and remove 2 threat from that scheme. Alright, so we put that into play. Once you have no actions that you want to do and no cards you want to play from your hand, that would be, you could call your turn over. Once you pass your turn, it would go on to the next person, hence we're in solo, so we are done. Once all the players have gone, then you go to the end of your player phase. The end of the player phase is, first, you look at the cards you have in hand. You can discard any number of cards you want to from your hand. In this case, I want to keep both of these cards in hand. And then once you've chosen to discard, you're going to draw up to your max hand size. Well, remember, in my alter ego form, my max hand size was 6. But in this case, in my hero form, it is 5. So that means I draw up to 5. I already have 2 in hand, so I'm going to get to draw 3 cards to go up to 5. So 1, 2, 3. Once all the players have discarded and then drawn up, you ready all your cards and unexhaust them. And then that's the end of the hero phase, and we go up to the villain phase. The first step of the villain phase is to accelerate the scheme. So you're going to look here and see what the acceleration is. In this case, it says to accelerate +1 threat per player. So it's going to accelerate and add 1 threat to the scheme. Next, we have this forced response, which says after resolving step 1, which we just did, of the villain phase, deal 2 damage to Robert Kelly. 3 damage if there is 6 threat per player here. There's only 1 threat, so no. We just do 2 damage to Robert Kelly. The next step is the villain is going to activate against each player. When he activates, he's going to look, starting with the first player, and he's going to look and see what form they're in. If the character he's activating against is in, I should say not character, if the identity he is activating against is in alter ego form, then he's going to scheme and add more threat to the main scheme. If the identity is in hero form, then Sabretooth will attack them, and that's when they would have to choose whether to defend or not. I am in hero form, so hence Sabretooth is going to attack me. So I have to choose if I'm going to defend. I'm going to choose not to defend, actually. So Sabretooth is now going to attack, and he's going to do 2 damage. Plus, since he is the villain, he gets what's called a boost card. He's going to deal the top card from the encounter deck into his boost pile. In this case, he had no boost pile, so that's the only card he gets. And then we're going to ignore everything on the card, but we're only going to look at the bottom of the card. And this was a bad situation, but let me go grab a card from the side. But we are looking at the bottom, and we're looking for little ticks like that. Those, however many of these symbols are there, is how much he's going to boost whatever action that he is activating on. So, in this case, if this was the card that was drawn, he would boost his attack. He would do 2 plus 3 and do 5 damage to me. In this case, there's nothing there, so that means he would just do 2 damage to me. Since I did not defend, that means I have to take 2 damage. I will admit, I was thinking about playing this Flash Freeze, but it reduces the attack by 3. I think I'm going to take the 2 damage and just hold on to that card and reduce a future attack. So we're just going to take the 2 damage. Now remember, Hurricane's in play, which was each character gains Retaliate 1. That means Storm has Retaliate 1, which Retaliate says if she's attacked, she does 1 damage to the thing that attacked her. So she does 1 damage to Sabretooth. And then there's one more thing we have to take care of. There's some things that triggered here. Sabretooth has these little stars on him, which say that when he activates, after Sabretooth activates against you, discard the top card of the encounter deck, heal damage from Sabretooth equal to the number of boost icons discarded this way. So, we're going to discard this card, and then really just look at it, and he's going to heal for however many of those ticks are there, which there's 1. So that means he regenerates for the 1 that I just retaliated on him. After resolving his activation, all the minions that are on me would activate. Because normally when minions come into play, they would be over here, and that's when they would activate against me. And they would do whatever Sabretooth did, or what they would check to see what form I'm in. In this case, I'm in hero form, minions would attack me. They just don't get the boost card when they do it. I mean, there's an ability that can do that, but for now, just know they don't get the boost card. There are no minions in play, and then, like I said, I just throw them over here in the bad guy area anyways to keep all the bad guy area in there. But there's no minions in play, so that doesn't happen. So next, we go to the encounter step, which each player is dealt 1 encounter card from the top of the deck to their encounter pile. In this case, there was none, so that's just the only 1. And then now we do care everything about the card. We're going to have to do everything that's on the other side of this card, which is a minion comes into play, Pyro. So, like I said, this minion would come into play against me, and I would have to now have this guy attacking and or scheming along with Sabretooth until I take care of him. But, like I said, I'm going to put everything in the bad guy area. So we see here, he's a minion, he's got 4 hit points, and he's got 2 scheme. And like I said, he would just scheme for 2 if he was doing. He has a 0 attack, but he has a special thing, which is after Pyro attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck, take 1 indirect damage for each printed resource icon discarded this way. So he's just going to be a little bit more of an annoyance to where we have to go focus on him instead of just putting all of our damage on Sabretooth. After the encounter step, the last part of the villain phase is actually to pass the first player marker to the player on the left, but once again, we're the only player, so that's the last time you see me even jack with that. All right, with that, we go back to that's the end of the turn. That's it. That's the whole game. Now we're just going to go back and forth, hero phase, villain phase, hero phase, villain phase, until we either knock Sabretooth out twice, or Sabretooth knocks us out, or pulls off his scheme. So, let's see what we can do. Our first action is going to be, I want to play this card. To me, my X-Men, it costs me 1. Well, I have this resource, and I do have the X-Men trait, so I'm going to exhaust the X-Jet to get my wild resource to pay for, to me, my X-Men. And what that lets me do, I guess I can show you. So what this is an event. An event is a one-time play where once you play it, pay its cost, do all of its stuff here, it goes to the discard pile. It's just a one-time use. In this case, it says to, as a hero action, which means I had to be a hero and then in hero form, and I could do it as an action. I search the top 5 cards of the hero deck, of my deck, for an X-Men ally and put it into play. If that ally is still in play at the end of the phase, add it to my hand. So what that search ability does is it means I just look at the top 5 cards of these of my deck, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I search to see if there is a X-Men ally in there. So, no, that's an event, upgrade, no, resource. So there was no ally in there. It says on a search, then only if you search an entire deck do you reshuffle. So the way I interpret that is these go right back on top. Because I did not search my entire deck, I only searched those 5 cards. Which actually makes this kind of weaker than I remember, but I guess you would draw through it. You just wouldn't, it just makes it where you can't play multiple on the same turn. So I can kind of get that. Well, that was a bust. We hit nothing. I did skip that it said I couldn't play unless I had the X-Men trait, but I did have the X-Men trait, so. Next, I'm going to go ahead and activate Storm's action, the one where it lets me swap my weather support for one out of my deck of my choice. Alright, so I'm going to put Thunderstorm into play, so I'm swapping Hurricane out and putting Thunderstorm into play, which is the one that gives all characters +1 attack, including Pyro and Sabretooth. But it also said I get to do the special ability on there, which the special is deal 2 damage to an enemy. So I'm going to choose to do 2 damage to an enemy. I'll do 2 damage to Pyro. And I know these are damage counters. I just like to put counters on there and just reduce them. And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep these off camera just because it's easier for me to read them and look at them and not remember them right now since I'm learning to play the deck right now. If I see something that says something about having to draw or do something random, I'll mix them up then. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do a basic attack and have Storm exhaust to attack Pyro for 2. Oh, Thunderstorm's in play, +1, so attack Pyro for 3, which doesn't matter. He's at 2, so it's enough to KO Pyro. I'm going to play Weather Goddess. It is a 0-cost event. Hero, action, hero as my action. Swap the weather support in play with a support of my choice from the weather deck. Resolve the special ability on your weather support in play. So I'm going to swap Clear Skies in for Thunderstorm. And now which is now going to give each character Stalwart. Stalwart means all the characters cannot be stunned or confused, which I'll only go into that one if we actually hit it, but just know that that's what it means, is no characters can be stunned or confused, because it says each character. But I do get to do the special, which is draw 1 card. So draw 1 card, which you already know is this one, because we got to do that search earlier. Which I really wish it just would have been something else that was there, but like I said, it didn't say shuffle. It said only shuffle entire decks that are searched. So either way, I want to play Torrential Rain here. It costs 2, so we'll use this. It is an event that says hero, action, thwart, remove 3 threat from among schemes in play. If Hurricane is in play, we do its special ability. Hurricane is not in play, so we just get to remove 3 threat from a scheme. So we're going to move 3 threat from Find the Senator. And now that's going to trigger some stuff. So now that we did that, we defeated Find the Senator. So it says, when defeated, the first player detaches Robert Kelly from this scheme and takes control of him. So we detach it from the scheme. We take control of him. Remember, he's an ally. So, and we're going to go through his text box here in a second because it's going to have something to do with more of this. All right. So, next, advance the main scheme to 2A. We'll do that here in a second. And then it says, flip this card and place it next to the main scheme. So we're going to go ahead and just flip this card, and we'll talk about that after we advance the 2A. So, it said advance the 2A. We're in 1B, so that means this goes away. And now we go to 2A. 2A says, Sabretooth has wounded Senator Kelly and continues to hound him. When revealed, deal each player a face-down encounter card. So that means, remember, we got that during the encounter step where we had to be dealt an encounter card. We deal ourselves an encounter card. Now, we don't take care of that until that encounter step during the villain phase. But that means we're going to have to deal with 2 this turn. Alright, so we did everything on that card. So now we flip this over and we're in 2B. The Injured Senator. Get Robert Kelly to safety before Sabretooth finishes the job. When completed, defeat Robert Kelly. So what when completed means right now it starts with 0 threat on the scheme. It's still got the same thing, +1 acceleration per player on here. But notice now it's got a number up here in the corner, which says 9 per player. What it means is if Sabretooth, use my pronouns, if Sabretooth puts 9 threat on here per player, then he completed his main scheme, which is defeat Robert Kelly, which means we would just knock out Robert Kelly. Well, it says if Robert Kelly leaves play, the players lose the game. So basically, he's going to be trying to now, we got to get Robert Kelly to safety. So we got to knock out Sabretooth before he knocks out Robert Kelly, which will happen if he gets 9 threat on here, as far as we know. Now I'm going to show you what else got triggered. All right. So now we go to protect the Senator. Robert Kelly cannot be healed by player card effects. It cannot have upgrades attached. We already knew that. It just continues. All right. Hero response. So that means as a response, if I'm in hero form, after my hero defends against an attack from Sabretooth, I can spend 2 resources of any type to ready my hero. Only the player who controls Robert Kelly can trigger this ability. All right. So that means if Sabretooth attacks and I defend, after I defend, I can pay 2 resources to ready and unexhaust my hero. All right, pretty cool. Now let's look at Robert Kelly. So Robert Kelly here says the first player takes control of Robert. It always has control of Robert Kelly. And he does not count against your ally limit and cannot have player cards attached. So that means we can't attach stuff to him, which we kind of already saw that. But also, normally you have a limit of allies. I haven't brought any allies out, even though this is a leadership deck, which is what it's supposed to do. I used one as a resource and failed on getting my other one. But either way, normally you can only have 3 allies. He doesn't restrict you, so he doesn't count as one of your ally slots. But then notice the forced interrupt also. The forced interrupt is when an enemy resolves an attack, an undefended attack against me, deal that damage to Robert Kelly. So, if I do not defend when being attacked, Robert Kelly just takes it to the face. We're going to have to start defending, or we got to let him take the damage and hope he doesn't get knocked out. Which is why they give you the Protect the Senator, because now you can defend and pay the 2 resources to ready your character. Alright, all that was triggered off of that torrential rain and removing that scheme. So now we just got to knock out Sabretooth twice before he knocks out Robert Kelly. We're back in the same boat, just this time we have Robert Kelly over here with some more restrictions. With that, I'm going to go to the end of my turn. I am going to discard this card from hand, keeping this one in hand. So now we draw up to my hand size of 5. So 1 already in hand, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready all of our cards and unexhaust them. Next, we accelerate the scheme, which was the 1 per player. So it puts 1 on there. And now he's got 1 to his 9 to just straight up knocking him out. Next, Sabretooth is going to activate. So I'm in hero form, so Sabretooth's going to attack. I'm not defending. So Sabretooth attacks for 2 plus 2. He's attacking for 4 damage. And because I'm about to trigger some stuff I don't want to forget, we're going to put this card right here to remember that's Sabretooth's regeneration. So he is doing 4 damage. So Robert Kelly's just going to take it to the face. I'm going to exhaust the X-Jet and do Flash Freeze here, which says Hero Interrupt. Interrupt means I have to be hero. I have to be in hero form. Interrupt means there's something I'm interrupting. It says when the villain attacks you. Well, he attacked me. The villain and each minion engaged with you gets -3 attack while attacking you this phase. So he's getting -3 attack. He done 4, or attack for 4, so that means he's getting -3. Okay, I did look it up. I was worried it might be like in Arkham Horror, where the -3 can't take it below 0 and then now the boost. But no, they said anytime something adds, which boost does add, you recalculate everything that's on there. So this -3 is there, and then the boost card, so it would have reduced it by 3. Because technically that was taking place, I think, before, because the interrupt looks at that they're attacking you before you got the boost. Either way, it's going to reduce it down to where Robert Kelly only takes 1 damage, because 4 minus 3 is 1 damage. All right, Sabretooth activated, so now he regenerates for 0, because I don't know if did I say this last time? Can't remember if that was part of the, nope, sorry. I did not talk about this. So with his regeneration, it's only looking for that symbol. This is a different symbol. What that symbol would be is if that was a boost, which was the boost for the attack, then we would have went and looked there. But in this case, we ignore it because we were only looking for those ticks. So that means he regenerates for 0. There's no minions in play because we took care of Pyro. So next we go to the encounter step where we deal ourselves another encounter card. And now we have 2 encounter cards we're going to have to deal with. Let's hope this doesn't make me want to cry. Here we go. We're going to deal with the first one, which is Gang Up. It says when revealed, alter ego or hero. So we have to see what form we're in. We're in hero form. So we go to when revealed hero. The villain and each minion engaged with you attacks you. So Sabretooth is activating and attacking me again. I knew I should have switched to the retaliate one. I'm going to have Storm go ahead and defend. So I get to reduce the attack by 1 damage. So he's doing 2. Alright, so what that means, that doesn't add anything. It just means we got to go look at the boost, because it's a boost. That's called the boost ability. We have to go read that, just like I had talked about just earlier. And we have to do what it says here, which in this case it says, attach this card to Sabretooth. So this is an attachment that's going to attach to Sabretooth. Sabretooth gains Stalwart, which he has right now anyways because of my clear skies. But he cannot be confused, or stunned, or confused. As it says there, this character cannot be stunned or confused. As a hero action, I could spend those 3 resources to discard this card. So it didn't boost his attack, but it did make him have Stalwart unless I get rid of this card. So he does 2 plus 0, so 2 damage. I defended for 1. So 2 minus 1 means I take 1 damage. But that was an activation, so Sabretooth is now going to regenerate for 0. And then now, that was that encounter card. We have to do the second one, which is another minion. We have Toad here. He's got 3 hit points, 2 scheme, 2 attack. When he attacks, it shows the force responses. After Toad attacks and damages a character you control, discard 1 random card from your hand. Lovely. Alright, that was all the encounter step. So we go back to the beginning of my turn. I really don't want to waste this right now, but I think I'm gonna. It's not this I don't want to waste. I don't want to discard these, but I don't have any other way to do this, so we're going to play Blast of Wind. It costs 3. But I get Blast of Wind here, which basically is an event. Hero action, choose a player, I choose me. Deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. Then I get to resolve the special ability of my weather support. So I don't forget to do that. My special ability of the weather support is I get to draw this card. I'm just going to put it right there. But either way, we are going to do 3 damage to all the bad guy, to the villain, and all the minions on me. Well, since I'm the only player, this minion is on me, so it does 3 damage to Toad. And then 3 damage to Sabretooth. Alright. And then we draw this card, which would have let me keep one of those, but yeah, that sucked. Alright, we're going to activate Storm's action, which allows me to swap the support, or the weather support. We're going to get rid of Clear Skies, and we're going to go into Hurricane Weather here. And I get to do the special, which the special is remove 2 threat from a scheme. So I'll remove 2 threat, which there's only 1 on there, but it gets rid of that threat off that scheme. But now all characters have Retaliate 1. With that, I'm going to go to the end of my turn. I'm going to discard this card, so I have no cards in hand. So we're going to draw to my hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready all of our cards. Back to the top of the villain phase. Accelerate the scheme for 1. Sabretooth is going to activate. I will choose to defend. So Sabretooth is going to attack for 2. Plus 0. I defended for 1, so I take 1. I did forget to say I was in hero form. No minions in play. Oh, well, almost forgot Sabretooth's regeneration. As much as I don't want him to regenerate. He regenerates for 1. Now we go to the encounter phase. Deal with our encounter card, which is a side scheme. So we already had one in play. I kind of talked about it. Now we'll talk about it now that you may have seen some stuff. So now what this is a side scheme. It comes into play with 2 threat on it. And it also has hinder 2 per player. When revealed, place 2 threat per player here. So it actually has 4 threat on it. And what it does, victory 1, if you're playing the campaign, it means that this would give you XP for the campaign. But in a regular game, victory means it would not, when this is defeated, it would not go to the discard pile because it would go to the victory pile. And that's just so that this can't be reshuffled in, because this is a good thing, because when you defeat this, you get to heal 2 damage from Robert Kelly. But while this is in play, it's also going to accelerate the scheme by an additional 1. So when that step 1 happens and it's doing +1, it's going to do +1, +1, so 2. But this is a way to heal Robert Kelly if we can get that threat off of there. That was the encounter phase, so we're back to the beginning of my turn. I did forget, Sabretooth did attack me, and all characters have Retaliate 1, so Sabretooth does take 1 damage from that. I want to bring Storm's Cape into play. It costs 3. I'm using the X-Jet and discarding these 2. This is an upgrade for Storm. It basically says Storm gets +1 defense and gains the aerial trait. Aerial trait, just some cards may mention if you have the aerial trait. But +1 defense, since I'm having to defend each turn. As a hero response, after I resolve the special ability on my weather support, exhaust Storm's Cape to ready Storm. So since I'm triggering those anyways, might as well get this into play to where I can start getting double effects. Or not really double effects, but getting to ready my character and do stuff. I'm going to activate Storm's ability here to swap Hurricane out and put Thunderstorm back into play, which is going to give all characters +1 attack, but it lets me do my special of dealing 2 damage to an enemy. So I'll deal 2 damage to Sabretooth. And because I did that special, now I can activate as a hero response after you resolve the special ability on your weather support, which I did, exhaust Storm's Cape to ready Storm. And then now I'm going to exhaust Storm and do a basic attack of 2. Oh, look, +1 for another 3 damage on Sabretooth. I'm going to go to my end step. I'm going to keep both these cards in hand. So I got 2 in hand. So I draw up to 5. So I draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Ready all of our cards. Back to the top of the villain phase. We're going to accelerate the scheme by 1 plus this one. So it's going to get 2 added to it. Ah, I can pick that up. There we go. Sabretooth is going to activate. I'm going to defend. Do remember, Thunderstorm's in play, so Sabretooth is going to get +1 attack. So he's doing 2 + 1, 3 damage, plus another 2. So 4, 5 damage, minus 1, and I have a +1 defense there, so 5 minus 2, doing 3 to me. Playing a leadership deck without bringing out allies. Seems good. Now Sabretooth's going to activate and regenerate. 4, 2, which that's a good one to hit on that. I'm glad to see that one go out of the deck. It always worries me when encounters are coming up. But he regenerates for 2. And now, encounter step. Hopefully not something that makes him attack since he's got +1 attack. It is Mutant Terrorists. When revealed, search the encounter and discard pile for the Brotherhood side scheme and reveal it. Oh, that's not good. I don't remember this being good. If it did not interplay this way, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a Brotherhood of Mutants minion is discarded and reveal it. So I guess it could have been worse. We have not seen it yet, I don't think, so it has to be still in the encounter deck. So let me go in there and go get that. There it is, and I will talk about it. Let me go ahead and put... It gets 3, plus it has Hinder 2 per player, so it gets 5 threat put on here. And each Brotherhood Mutants minion gains Quick Strike, which means when they come into play, they immediately get to attack. And then that is a bad card for me, because that means when I deal myself an encounter card, I have to deal myself an additional encounter card. But that's everything on this one. It goes to the discard pile. And I just need to shuffle up the encounter deck, because in this case, it did say search the encounter deck and it said shuffle, but that's the entire deck search, so it means we do have to shuffle it. And I thought I was feeling confident here a little bit. We will see. It's not looking good. All right. Couple more shuffles there. Yep, and we'll put that back in there, which that deck's almost out. And if that deck ever runs out, it adds this thing. There's another one. Let's see if I can find it over here. Yeah, there's a little token that goes on there, so it's going to be accelerating even more. So he's going to almost pull this thing off if I don't get, like, booking here to knocking him out. All right, I want to play Lightning Bolt here. I'm still an X-Men, so I can get that for one of my resource. And I need to pay 2 more. There's my 2 more. That plays Lightning Bolt, which is an event, attack, hero, action, deal 8 damage to an enemy. Period. If Thunderstorm is in play, resolve its special ability. Well, first we got to do the first part, which is deal 8 damage to an enemy. So we're going to do 8 damage to Sabretooth, which is enough to KO him from his first stage. So that happens, which brings his second stage into play, which you'll notice gives him +1, one more scheme. But he still has his same regeneration, but now he gets 15 hit points per player, and he gets toughness. So let's first give him his 15 hit points, and then now he gets toughness, which toughness is a card that says the next time that character would take any amount of damage, discard this card instead. So I'm going to put this on there, and I'm going to put it on top of his hit points there. That way I don't forget about it. But it don't matter because that's the reason we have to resolve that first. And then this says, period, if Thunderstorm is in play, resolve its special ability. The special ability of Thunderstorm is in play, is deal 2 damage to an enemy. So, deal 2 damage to an enemy, gets rid of the toughness. And then now, I also have my cape, which says, after you resolve the special ability on your weather support, exhaust Storm's cape to ready Storm. So, ready Storm. And now, I'm going to attack with Storm. Attack Sabretooth for 2 plus 1, 3 damage. Next, I'm going to do Storm's ability here. As an action, swap Thunderstorm. And I'm going to put in Hurricane. It also lets me do the special, which the special is remove 2 threat from a scheme. And I don't think there's much I can do about those. I'm hoping to take him down on the next turn because I have another lightning bolt in hand. We will see. So I'm going to remove 2 from the main scheme because I'm also worried with 2 encounters happening. I saw 1 or 2 of the scheme that makes him scheme, so that worries me a little bit. Anyways, we're going to remove those 2 threat. With that, we're going to go to my end step. I don't think I'm going to be searching for X-Men, so we'll discard that. I'll keep the lightning bolt in hand. So I have 1 in hand, draw up to my hand size of 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready all of our cards. Accelerate the scheme for 1 plus 1, so back to that 3. Sabretooth is going to activate. So that means Sabretooth will, I'm in hero form, Sabretooth will attack. And I think this is actually how you're supposed to do this, is an interrupt says it foresees what they're doing. So Sabretooth's about to attack me, even though it says when the villain attacks you. Well, I foresee he's about to attack me. He is attacking me. So now either way I play it here, I don't think it really 100% matters. But pay 1 with the X-Jet to do Flash Freeze, which is when the villain attacks you, the villain and each minion engaged with you gets -3 attack while attacking you this phase. If Blizzard was in play, I would get to do the Blizzard effect. Blizzard is not in play, so -3 attack. Oh, actually it says for the whole phase. So that means if he gets any future attacks, that's really good. That's way better than I thought it was. I thought it was just for that attack. All right, so he's attacking for 2, 3, 4, -3. So I would take 1. But since I didn't defend, Robert Kelly takes the 1. There are no minions in play. So we go to the encounter step. So we deal ourselves an encounter card. And because of the Brotherhood, we have to deal ourselves a second encounter card. And first one is Unrelenting Savage. Oh. I mean, this is still going to happen. We already know what this one is. This one's actually supposed to be Sabretooth just activate against us. This is supposed to be a regeneration. So he regenerates for 1. And then this is actually the one we're going to have to deal with first, which is attached to Sabretooth. Sabretooth's attacks gain piercing, so it means piercing means if I have toughness, it gets rid of the toughness, then does damage. He also gets +1 attack, and I can get rid of it if I spend those resources. Yeah, sorry I did that all kind of messed up and wonky, but so he does Unrelenting Savage, which we gotta check. I'm in hero form. When revealed hero form, Sabretooth attacks you. If he has no sustained damage, he gets +1 attack. He has sustained damage, so he only gets his normal attack, which is 2 + 1, 3. Flash freeze is still in effect until the end of the phase, so he's at 0. So this is his boost of 1, and because it's a boost, we have to stop and look, attach this card to a minion, and give it a tough status card. Oh, you dirty dog. Alright. Well, he gets a tough status card. Oh, it says attach it to a minion. There are no minions in play. It says attach this card to a minion and give it a tough status card. There are no minions in play, so this doesn't do anything but boost the thing, which is 2 + 1 is 3 + 1, 4. Flash freeze -3. So I just take 1. I didn't defend, so Robert Kelly takes 1. And actually, I just forgot all about. I need to start defending, but I guess that flash freeze made it to where that wasn't as bad as I was thinking it would be. I did almost forget again. Sabretooth regenerates. Oh, really? Back to full. Putting him at 15. Alright. Back to the beginning of... Oh. He attacked twice. All characters have retaliate. So he actually... Oh my goodness. This is why I hate when I forget things. So he would have taken 2. But he just regenerated for 3, which only gave him 2. He'd be down by 1. Because that first attack would have taken him down. Then he would have regenerated up. And then this one would have regenerated in the full. But then he... Because of the retaliate 1. I mean, either way, even if he took it before... Yeah. Alright. Sorry, I know that was confusing, but it still would have... Because even if it would have done damage to him before, he would have had 2 more down, which means when he regenerated, then regenerated 3, he'd put him at 14. So... Alright. Now that I made that all confusing, I think I still had it even if it was at 15. So let's try to at least do 15 damage. That way if I did that wrong. So beginning of my turn, I'm going to do Storm's action to swap Hurricane out for Thunderstorms, which gives all characters +1 attack. I also get to do the special, which is deal 2 damage to an enemy. So we're going to do 2 damage to Sabretooth. And because I want to make sure I did it right, we're just going to put him at 15. Even though I'm pretty sure I did. But always, I like to err on the side of my mistakes and fixing it. So there's the 2 damage from the Thunderstorm special. Now this says after I resolve the special ability on my weather support, I can exhaust this to ready storm. But a response, you can actually, unless it's forced, you can choose to not trigger it. I'm not going to trigger right now because I can't even unexhaust anyway. So, well, now I'm going to exhaust Storm to do a basic attack of 2 + 1 from the Thunderstorm. So 3 damage to Sabretooth. And now I'm going to play Lightning Bolt. There's my 3 resources. Lightning Bolt says, hero action, deal 8 damage to an enemy. And then if Thunderstorm is in play, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So I'm doing 8, 9, 10, which is enough to knock him out. So I could have done it if it was 15 anyways. So if I did mess up all that math, it wouldn't matter. That was enough damage to take him from full. Alright. I don't know. That one's hard to judge. Like I said, if you watched my Wolverine one, you know I was talking about how when I play... When they come out with 2 characters, I was looking forward to Storm because she's one of my favorite characters. So when they release 2 characters at once, usually the one I'm looking forward to and the one I'm not looking forward to the most ends up being the one I enjoy the most. And I'll admit, Wolverine was fun just to be... that might be my first real major aggressive character. I mean, I built other aggressive decks, but that might be the first one I really want to do because that was kind of cool just to sink so much damage. I just want to do something stupid with Wolverine and go justice. But I enjoyed Storm too. I like the trickery on going back and forth. I still don't understand why they say make it a deck and put it face down. I guess just so that you don't know, so that you don't accidentally think another one's in play, I guess. I don't know. But no, I did have fun playing that one too. Did I have more fun than I did with Wolverine? I don't know. It was pretty fun just to melt someone down, but being able to throw lightning bolts and then seeing how strong Flash Freeze was and trying to figure out how to switch stuff back and forth, and I don't know. It was pretty fun also. So that might be another one of those. Well, it was just as fun. So, but cool. All right. Well, thank you for watching and have a great day.